Welcome to this Texas Hard Institute Library and Learning Resource Center tutorial on Excel. I'm going to go through an example and I encourage you to follow along. If you find that this jumps in a little bit too fast, a little too advanced, and you want a little refresher, there is a tutorial linked in the description of this video, and there's also a link to this sample document that we're using. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Excel by going to my Start menu, which may be for you in the bottom left, and just scroll through until you find Excel. If you right-click on it at this point, you can pin it to your Start menu, or under More, you can pin it to your taskbar. So you could click on it here, here, or here. I'm just going to left-click to open up a new document. And here I have a blank workbook, or I have some options here of some templates. Some of the templates include tutorials. I'm just going to click on blank workbook, and you'll see that the workbook has opened up in the home ribbon. And here's some additional function ribbons that we will be looking at later. In the bottom right, I want to point out this is your zoom option. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, but you can also zoom out if you need to see more of your data on the screen at once. So this is where you can zoom in and out from your data. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of jump in and insert some data. So here I have a data table in Word, and if I just want to copy paste it over, I can. The fastest way to select data from a table in Word is to come up to this top left corner rather, and click on the double arrows here, and then hit Control-C to copy, or come up here to hit copy, or right-click copy, whatever your favorite method is. And then I'll come back over here to Excel. I can hit the paste button here. I can hit Control-V, or I can right-click copy, paste rather. So Control-V to paste, and you can see that it has pasted in some of the formatting there. If I want to change that, I have my paste options here. I can get rid of that extra formatting that came over. Here you can see that the text, if I click on a cell to select it, the full cell contents are visible here in the formula bar. But you can see that in the display area, it looks like the data has been cut off, but it hasn't. It's still there in the cell. The same with these dates. The dates are all here. Some of them are just too long to fit, and so they appear as number sign. So this is what happens when a number is too big to fit in a column width, and this is what happens when text is too big to fit in a column width. So how do we fix that? Well, a column, you can hover over the right-hand margin of that bar of that column, and then you can drag once your cursor becomes this up-down bar with the left-right arrows, and you can move that border left and right to make it wider or narrower. The other things that you can do is, if I want to I'm not sure how wide this is and I can't see all the data, I can come here. When my cursor turns into that double arrow, I can double click and it will auto fit to the widest data that is in that column. If I want to do multiple columns at once, to select multiple columns, I click on the letter at the top and drag. So now I've selected columns B through F. I can now click on any one of these dividers and it will auto fit. If I had dragged, it would create equal width columns. Each one of these columns is now the same width. But if I double click, it will auto fit each to the largest element in each of those columns. So that's a quick way to get data across, and you can see it all here. Scroll through. Now I want to start kind of making it look better and also getting it ready so that we can do some calculations in the next video. The first thing I'm going to do is I look at this column, and it seems like we don't need this column to have all this data in here because it's all the same. So in the home ribbon, I have this option here to delete a whole column. So I've removed that column, and now the G column has become the F column. Over here in this column, I would like to have the first name and the last name in different columns because that's best practice for your data. So I need to make some space for the first name. I don't have to retype all this in or anything. I'm going to show you how to do that using Excel. So here I need a blank column for my first name to go into. So I'm going to come to the same area and hit insert. So now I have a column for that data to go into. I'm going to click on the column that I want to split and click on the A here. Then you go to the data ribbon. In the data tools group, there is a function called text to columns, and it will split this column into two or into multiple columns if there's multiple columns. My data, it opens up this wizard. My data is delimited. I have a comma and a space between the elements that I want to split. So I'll hit next. Here are some common delimiters. I don't have a tab, but I do have a comma. You can see here now I have two columns. There's a space here in front of these, so I'm going to click on space, and there we go. We've got two columns. The other thing that happened was this treat consecutive delimiters as one got automatically checked. If I uncheck it, it creates this blank column because I hit the comma, it makes a new column. I hit space, it makes a new column. So in this case, we want it all to be together. I'm going to hit next. Here you could change your data format. I'm going to leave it as general and finish. So now I have all my data split into two columns. If I want to change the name of this, I want to name my columns. If I start typing here, last name, you see that I'm overwriting the contents of that cell. I can hit here, cancel, to go back to where I was. And then to change to edit this cell, essentially, I can either double click here in this cell to put my cursor here and start typing, or I could have clicked up here in the formula bar to start typing. And then when I'm ready, I can hit enter here to accept those changes, or I can hit return on my keyboard. So here I don't need to worry about that. I can just start typing first name, and then I can hit enter on my keyboard or the check mark here. If I'm not happy with that, I can always come back in here and edit that cell again. So here I have all my data. Now we can start looking at it, and let's say I want to start just kind of looking at the data a little bit. Under the home ribbon here, we have some sorting and filtering capabilities. They're also under the data ribbon, if you noticed. The sort and filter functions are also here, but a lot of times you're starting out in the home ribbon, so it's good to know that they're here as well. So now that I've selected in a column, I can try to do a sort, and I see that this data has sorted by this column, and it has kept all of the data together. Older versions of Excel didn't do that, and so it's kind of nice that it does. But here I do notice that my East Coast zip codes now need the leading 0, and so that's because this is a general format and we need to have a special format. If it were something we could do currency, we could do fractions and other things, but here under at the very bottom, there's more number formats. And zip codes are under special. You could also use custom because it's essentially 5 digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0, 0. So this would mean show me 5 digits no matter what. Or you can come here to special because here's zip code and also zip code +4. And now you can see that those leading zeros are back where they should be. If I want to filter, I can come here and do a filter, and it brings up these little down arrows here. So under state, if I want to choose a couple of states to look at and then hit OK, I will see only items pertaining to those particular states. And you can see over here that it is essentially just hidden some columns. If I want to clear that, I can come back here, clear filter. And the other thing I can do, sorting my names, so that I quickly just sorted by this column here. But you can see that I have first names as well. And in order to do a sort where I sort by last name and then by first name, you come to sort and filter, choose custom sort, sort by last name, add a level, and then sort by first name. And these are now correctly sorted. Another thing that you can do that I find really useful is to format as a table. My table has headers, and then I kind of like to come back over here and remove all that extra bars. And now these sort and filter options are built in because it's a table. And you can see here that these two are being used to do a sort. All right, so now I have all of my data entered into this spreadsheet, and I'm ready to start doing some calculations. So that will be in the next video, so I hope to see you there.